What is going on with my poor receding hairline here? That's just sad. I'm looking like a little bit like a Bond villain right now with this lighting, but you know, I'm working with what I got here, all right? But hey, it's here. The highly anticipated movie event of the summer, the 2023 TF2 Summer Update, and it's broken. I mean, that was expected, frankly, but I'm not going to dwell on Valve's shortcomings for very long here. Hey, finally, some serious, tangible quality improvements in not only hats, but maps and skins and taunts and unusual effects. Okay, maybe not unusual effects. Most of those actually quite suck. But either way, it's a huge relief because honestly, I was expecting the worst. I really was. I thought Valve was going to completely drop the ball on this update and it was just going to be another pile of tacky crap, but man, they genuinely surprised me. Granted, I did set my expectations so low that a strip of boot leather as a hat wouldn't have disappointed me, but hey, we didn't get that, so hell yeah. There's so much shit packed into this update that if I wanted to adequately go over everything, it would probably take over an hour. Trust me, I tried and had to cut myself off. So, I'll focus on what everyone really wants me to talk about, and that's the Warpaints. I was genuinely really worried about the Warpaints, man. I was expecting just AI-generated filth, or like popsicles and starfish and sandcastles and like cute little fishy stickers, but no, holy shit. Valve mostly gave us very good Warpaints, you know, instead of one or two buried underneath a mountain of shit. Some people did point out that Valve may have played it a little too safe with this case, but honestly, who gives a shit? Thank God they did. Whether or not that was intentional, we've been getting so many garbage Warpaints since 2018 that if this is playing it safe, I mean, God, I hope they keep doing that. I mean, I'm sorry, work sloppers, but most people don't like tacky holiday prints or neon color bombs. That is very clearly evident from the overwhelmingly positive reception of this case, and the general apathy or outright disgust towards previous collections. I'm seeing people who previously had zero interest in TF2 skins go out of their way to open these new cases or just buy the skins outright. That makes me happy. It makes me happy that we not only got good content, but content that people want to use, and content that meshes perfectly with the game's themes, its tone, and its artistic stylization. That's all I've wanted for now, and hey, we got it. Please, Valve, please, for the love of God, keep this up. I pray this level of quality control sticks around, but enough rambling. Let's get to the actual Warpaints, alright? I'm gonna fire up the official tier list today, and we'll hammer these out, alright? First up, we have Secretly Serviced. Somehow, this simple black and silver Warpaint is the most popular out of the entire case, at least from my observations. It's simple, it's clean, it looks awesome on most weapon models, frankly, except for, I think, the black box. Yeah, the black box just looks like the default black box with some silver, but, I mean, we'll ignore that one. What's funny is that while this Warpaint is simple, the texture work is actually of very high quality. It matches that painterly style of TF2 and isn't just two blocks of solid color slapped over the weapon models. It's something that we haven't seen in quite a while, and it's nice to get like actual TF2-esque textures onto weapon models for once. It's not something that I can recreate in 2 minutes, as I can for many other previous selections. Something really cool about this Warpaint too is that it leaves some parts of the vanilla model untextured, so if you wear it down to higher wears, it actually looks like the stock weapon model, just with some blood on it, which looks really badass. I think that's really cool. So it's like another additional little detail you can find if you happen to get one with higher wear. It's just a really solid Warpaint. However, Valve fucked up and did not put an albedo shine on this one. This is what the Warpaint looks like right now, and this is what it should actually look like. It's a bit of a shame. I really do hope that they fix it, but I don't think that they will, since previous requests to fix this issue on other Warpaints that were improperly implemented was just met with Valve saying, well, people might like how it looks now, so we're not gonna fix the problem that we introduced. Kind of dumb, but that means that this Warpaint's probably not going to get fixed. Though I think most of us agree that this looks better than this. This is an easy B tier Warpaint, but it would be a solid A tier if it had that shine. Next up, we have Team Serviced, which is just a color palette swap of Secretly Serviced, but it's genuinely really nice and isn't the disaster of a color palette swap that was, what was it, Health and Hell that we got for Scream Fortress last year? Oh, fuck me, dude. It's like finally just another nice, simple, team-colored war paint that just looks good. It looks good, it's clean, it's just another fresh option that doesn't stick out like an ugly sore thumb. You can flesh out a lot of loadouts with this. It's just nice. And it really doesn't look all that terrible on higher wares. It looks just like a worn out gun that you would expect to see in TF2. God forbid the concept actually something being put in the game that actually looks like it belongs in the game? Who would have ever thought, right? Wow, I mean, this doesn't have a neon pumpkin on it, therefore I can't use this thing. It's a good skin, I fucking love it. Valve also forgot the albedo shine on this one as well. Here's what it looks like right now, and here's what it looks like if it had the albedo shine. Bit of a shame, because this is another B tier war paint that would be an A tier if it had that shine. Bit of a crime. Next up is Pacific Peacemaker. You know what? This one's actually another pretty clean war paint. It's fairly reminiscent of Damascus Mahogany. The colors are quite nice. It looks, you know, decent on most weapon models. It's not bad by any means. My only gripe with this one is that the texture work uses this embossed etching, which doesn't really fit into TF2 stylization. It doesn't mesh nicely with the game. It kind of looks like a skin taken out of a different game. It's a little out of place. And the fact that it's green means it's gonna look a little funky on red team. I would have liked to have seen a variant for red team as well, where they changed the green primary and the blue tertiary for something that's more warm colored, maybe orange and red? I'm not sure. It would require some experimentation to see what would work. Beyond that, it's really not all that bad. It's like a solid C tier war paint in my eyes. It does wear a little bit like shit, doesn't look all that good, but it's passable. Just, you know, it is mid, as the kids say. Next up, we have Bomb Carrier. I mean, I think this one's good. I think I also promoted this item as well when I was doing my workshop wish list videos, I guess. This one is themed after the tanks in MVM, which is, it's kind of cute. I like it. It doesn't just take the colors, but it also takes that dingy, painterly style and transfers it nicely over to the weapon models. The stripes actually look painted on instead of thrown together in Photoshop in about 30 seconds. There's actual TF2 styled texture on this one. It looks like a dingy, beat up weapon, and in higher wares, it looks quite nice. This is another just really solid war paint that's fairly inoffensive, you know, nice team colors. It's just good. In terms of all the stripes war paints we've received, this is hands down the best one. Second place goes to Saccharine Stripes, because that one has like that nice shine, it's very clean. This one's definitely the best in my opinion. It's quite good. Next up is Mechanized Monster. I'm a little bit torn on this one. It does look really cool. You know, it's a reference to Mechagodzilla, you know, the JSDF, except it's the GSDF. The style and the theme is a little bit out of place for TF2. I would have liked to have seen it more heavily themed towards the game itself, you know, like maybe instead of Mechagodzilla, they could have put like a robot heavy from MVM. Instead of the GSDF, it could be the MSDF, the Man Special Defense Force. I think when I first critiqued this war paint on my workshop review streams, I'm pretty sure I gave a similar critique, because as it stands right now, it doesn't fit in the game. In terms of the theming doesn't fit in the game, I should say. The texture work, however, and, you know, the overall quality of this war paint is insanely high. It just looks really good, you know, nice, sleek metal texture. Sticker's a little bit funky, but I'm okay with that. It does have this really cool custom wear, where at higher wears, it reveals this burnt lava texture. I assume this is meant to be lava. It looks decent at minimal wear, maybe field tested depending on the weapon model. The custom wear might have a little bit too much detail in it, where I suppose depending on the seed, it might make the overall weapon model a little bit too busy, but it depends on the seed, it depends on the weapon model. Like this one heavily, yeah, the sticky bomb launcher exemplifies that quite well. It's a little bit too much, but if you get like minimal wear where you just get like a little bit of the burnt embers on there, that looks quite nice. But with higher wears, it's a little messy. I think the custom wear would have benefited from some simplification, either in terms of colors or in terms of texture work. I mean, even scaling it up would have helped it a little bit. It still doesn't look bad by any means. It's just a little bit too much detail for TF2 stylization. I mean, despite all of that, regardless, it's still a really good Warpaint. The overall quality of it is solid. I mean, it's B tier. It's another B tier Warpaint. It would be an A tier because I think Valve also forgot the fucking albedo shine on this one, though I can't really tell based off of the workshop screenshots alone, so unsure, but another nice Warpaint. Up next is Steel Brushed. I mean, it's basically team serviced, except this one has that albedo shine that it should. See how shiny that is? That looks quite nice. Brushed metal looks oddly good on weapon models in TF2. That's not something I expected. And it's another one that looks quite good with higher wear. You know, it wears down genuinely. That's something about all these weapons, right? All of these skins still keep the weapons looking like weapons and not something out of a fucking Oriental trading catalog, right? They still all look like guns, and that's what I love the most about this Warpaint case, is that everything still looks like a fucking weapon, man. And this is another one of those Warpaints that really preserves that. Fuck, the minigun looks good, dude. I might actually have to get one of these. This looks really nice. I fear that the base used for this Warpaint might have a little too much of the silver on certain weapon models. I think more black, breaking it up a little bit more, would have made it look a bit nicer. But like, shortstop looks nice, but then on, say, maybe the sniper rifle, yeah, a little bit too much of that silver. I think a bit more of the black would have helped it a lot. But either way, it's a very minor nitpick. Another really solid Warpaint. Easy B tier. Man, do I dare say A tier for this one? Nah, I'm gonna say B tier. I am gonna say B tier, and yes, I will acknowledge the fact that we got secretly serviced and steel brushed and what is it, Mechanized Monster. We got 3 silver Warpaints. They all look different enough, but I would have preferred a little bit more variety in this case. That would have been nice, but I really can't complain because I will take all of these any day over the garbage we normally get. Don't get me wrong, seriously. I'm so fucking happy they added this one, dude. I am so glad they added Warborn, man. This is my favorite one. Warborn, this is just, it's easily the best Warpaint in this case. It is so fucking good, dude. I talked about this one in my workshop wishlist video, and this is just such a perfect Warpaint for TF2, man. It's so clean, it's got that shine, you got a kick-ass military camo texture. Aiden is the creator who made this Warpaint and also Mechanized Monster. He nails this leather texture, and he also got a custom wear on there, so at higher wears it looks fucking sick. It looks so good. God, I am so glad they add. There's nothing wrong with this Warpaint. It looks I already had to get one. I had to buy one already. Like I had to go out of my way to get a factory new strange one of these and put it on a panic attack. It looks so good. It's just a fantastic S tier. This is like the first S tier skin we've received in such a long time. It is so good. Thank you, God, Valve, for adding this, and thank you, Aiden, for making it, because this is easily one of the best skins in the game, hands down. It is phenomenal. Perfect skin. That was the best skin in the case, and now the worst skin in the case. Yeah, now for the worst skin in the case. It's almost a dud. It barely skirts that line of being a dud, but it's pretty close. The texture work does leave something to be desired. The colors are okay. They skirt the line on being just a little too saturated for the game. The dragon texture is nice, but finer details like these scales really do get lost on most weapon models, and they get scaled down so much that they just, you don't see them at all. Perhaps a background texture that was with the painterly style would have helped it a lot more than just using scales, or maybe you could have upscaled the scales to where it looked something more like macaw masked. That is something that, like, the workshop guidelines specifically state not to do, is to incorporate finer details in the texture work, because they don't translate very well into TF2, and this is a perfect example of that. So there's that bit of a flop, and then this secondary texture. This secondary texture back here, for one, it doesn't really blend nicely with the colors on the primary. You go from red to purple, and then, well, the blues actually work quite well, but this one doesn't look so good. This one, I think, should lean more towards orange than purple, and that would help it blend more nicely with the primary texture. But the thing that bothers me the most is like this wispy, I guess, smoke is what they were going for here. The way they blended the colors into the background makes it look really fuzzy and blurry. So it's like my eyes are trying to constantly focus on something that doesn't need to be focused on. It makes my eyes hurt. This one needed a little bit more time in the oven. The cartoony dragon pattern, it's not TF2 style, honestly. This looks like another skin from another game, like CSGO or Fortnite or something. It just doesn't really fit the game that well. It's a D tier, honestly. It's a D tier. Oh yeah, it also wears like absolute ass. Oh, Anything other than factory new on this skin looks terrible. Yeah, it's like a D tier. It's a bit of a bummer. I would have liked to have seen literally anything else other than this Warpaint in the case. Sorry. Next up is business class. This one's actually quite nice. It's very much reminiscent of the Gentleman's Collection. It has like that sleek leather texture with, like, I assume this is meant to be like metal? This is leather, this is metal, and this is also metal, like a belt buckle. I'm not sure, but it's another really sleek looking skin. My main gripes with it is that the brown is a little bit too saturated. I think it should have been desaturated a little bit because it's a bit intense and it's so bright that the dark custom wear underneath contrasts with it so heavily. It just doesn't look very good. Another problem with the custom wear is that it's so heavily dark brown that it literally looks like shit. Like, it looks like my Medigun has been dipped in sewage. Anything other than factory new on this one just really doesn't look all that good, in my opinion. And also, the base they use, I think this one uses a custom base. The base they used on this one incorporates a bit too much of that brown. This Warpaint looks the best when you have more of the other textures breaking up the brown, so there's smaller areas of it. Like, this looks quite nice. The less of the brown texture, the better. That's the problem with this Warpaint. Also, it is team colored, where this metal or leather texture goes from like a reddish tinge to a bluish tinge, and like the brown is, I guess, more yellowed. Yeah, it's more yellowed. I mean, still, in comparison to everything that we've been getting over the past 6 years, this one gets a pass. It's like a solid, I say easy B tier for this one. It's a B tier. Last but certainly not least, we have Stallion. Stallion is interesting. This is another Warpaint that I spoke about, and honestly, it's kind of kick-ass. It's nice. It's a really sleek, another kind of bright but not too bright warplane themed skin that looks really good on pretty much fucking everything. Two things though. Valve royally fucked up the implementation of this one. This checkered pattern should have a fixed orientation like the silver metal texture, and they also forgot the fucking albedo shine. So this one looks like this right now. It should look more like this. That is a huge bummer. The creators of all these Warpaints, I believe, already reached out to Valve and asked them to implement, the correct shaders and fix the orientation on this one. Don't think Valve's gonna do that for the reasons I already explained. Hopefully they do. We'll see. The only things I really don't like about this Warpaint are these rocket stickers here. Depending on the seed that you get, they can end up in a spot that makes it look a little bit busy. Like right here, it looks kind of cluttered and messy and not all that good. But on others, well, I mean, you don't really see them here, so it's nice and clean. It probably could have done without these rocket stickers, and it would still be really nice and sleek. But the custom sticker here with the star on it is really good. The color work is amazing. The texture work is really solid. The custom wear, it kind of looks like, is it oil? I think it's meant to be oil. I'm not entirely sure. This Warpaint had an alternative wear that wore down to silver. I think that looks better than this one does because the orange adds an additional color on top of all the other, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors on this one already. And then you throw a 7th color on this one that I think is also a gradient. I don't think it's a solid color. Yeah, it's a gradient, so you get different colors. Yeah, it makes it a little bit too busy. Depending on where you hit the gradient for the custom wear, it can look quite good. Like if you get the lighter color, that looks nice. But when you get this darker orange, it makes it too busy. I think the silver custom wear would have looked a lot better on this one, but it's honestly a very minor infraction on the overall composition, and I think it's good. I think this one's going to be a very heavily sought out elite grade for a very long time. As it is right now, solid B tier, but if they fix the orientation lock and they give it that albedo shine, like solid A tier, maybe even S tier. I would have to see how it looks with those things implemented because it's just good. I also think I did promote this one. I did promote this one before, so happy to see it in game. And yeah, that wraps it up. We got really solid fucking Warpaints this time around, and I genuinely couldn't be happier. Thank you, God, Valve, for putting in just skins people want, skins that match the tone and stylization of the game. You're gonna find that the volume of keys bought for this case is going to far exceed all of the other keys bought for previous cases. Again, I'm really happy to see people like going out of their way and seeking out these Warpaints to use them in game. That's like a really good sign that, yeah, you picked good stuff, Valve. You picked Good stuff. All right, I'm gonna cut it off there. I think I've been recording for about half an hour now. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed the webcam. I'm currently on vacation right now, so I had to record inside of the living room in the place I'm staying at. So again, working with what I got. Hopefully it wasn't too much of a hindrance on your viewing pleasure. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you as always to all of my patrons who continue to support this shit show of a channel. If you guys want a little bit extra from me, I do have a second channel where I think I might post a commentary or two before the month is out. We'll see how I feel. Anyways, that's it. I'll shut up now, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.